Hello everyone, back tuning in to the 10th Christmas update. So we've done 9 updates so far. We began with Christmas updates on the first day of November. So we're getting on with the updates now. When we get to update 13, we're halfway through. I've got 25 penciled in. They've been very unsettled updates so far. We've had one cold one, that's the 5th update. Other than that, they've all been Atlantic driven and generally quite mild. I mean, the last one was a bit colder for the days of Christmas, but the overall broad pattern was still Atlantic driven. And that's primarily what we're looking for with this, because we can't really pin this down to the weather for the exact day of Christmas Day because it's too far away. So what we're looking for is to see what the long-range CFS V2 model is showing around the period of Christmas. So we're talking about sort of mid-December to late December to early January. If we can pick out the trend, and we have had a trend, as I say, it's been westerly, Atlantic driven and mild. That has been our trend for this sort of time of the year, with Christmas included in that in most of the updates. We'll see what the 10th update has to say in a second, but before you go on with that, just say that the Christmas shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click the green button that says Gav's Christmas Shop underneath this video directly, and it'll take you through to our Christmas shop page. You'll know you're on the right page because you'll see snowflakes rolling down your screen. From there, you click through the Amazon banners and go to Amazon, do your Christmas shopping as normal. You don't have to do anything differently whatsoever. It's purely the fact that you've gone from Gav's Vids to Amazon. That means we get a revenue fee on the Christmas presents that you are buying, and a big thank you to everybody for doing that again this season. Just talk you through the model again, because I have to assume, when I do these videos, I'm always having to assume that people are watching for the very first time. So if you know all this, then sorry about that, but for the people that don't know, just to say that we're using the CFS V2 9-monthly forecast from metroseal.fi. You can find the link to Metroseal on the links page. This was generated midday yesterday. We always try and use the same run all the time, then we can't be told off for cherry picking any particular outcome. This is purely the way that they're coming through. We use a midday run for no particular reason, just that's the one that we picked. So it's the midday run or the 12Z run, 12Z run, generated midday yesterday, 21st of November, always a 24-hour delay on these charts going through. And without further delays, let's get on with the 10th update. So we start off a little bit earlier on the 6th of December, and we've got high pressure out to the north and west of the country, and we're bringing in these cold east or northeast wind. Now this cold weather and this high pressure out to the northwest of Scotland is actually directly linked to the cold weather that we have got coming up from the weekend and through into next week. So the CFS keeps that going on and off through to the 6th of December. So that's our starting point. Let's see what happens. And we get through to the 7th, the 8th and the 9th of December. And what's happening here is that the high pressure is retrogressing. It's pulling out into the Atlantic, heading up towards Greenland with an active cold front starting to move southwards across the country. Behind that cold front, there's a very cold northerly wind starting to set in. So that cold front pushes southwards from the 9th through to the 10th of December. We're in a much, much colder northerly flow there, bringing the air down from the Arctic. That's bringing snow showers with it on the 10th of December. And probably some really quite hard overnight frost as well. We've got high pressure blocking things out around Greenland and Iceland. That looks like a very cold scenario indeed on the 10th of December. We carry on up to the 11th and the 12th, and that high pressure is slinking away, the low pressure, I should say, is slinking away to the south, and that's turning the winds into an east or northeasterly direction. So up to the 12th of December, it's staying cold and wintry. There'd be snow showers in the north and the east. There'd be hard overnight frost, and I suspect temperatures by day would probably be struggling to get much above freezing, especially so in the north and to the east of the country. So cold up to mid-December. We're running up to the 13th of December now. We've got high pressure centred in the Atlantic. It is beginning to slip down from Greenland. It's more of a mid-Atlantic ridge, but we're still cold here on the 13th of December, with the wind coming in from the north, probably losing the risk of snow showers, but I suspect there would be night frost. Right, let's get to mid-December, and we go up to the 14th and then to the 15th, and we're starting to see signs of a change now. That high pressure by the 15th is beginning to move down more towards the Azores, and this is starting to pull milder or even less cold air in from off the Atlantic Ocean. So after that cold start, it looks like we're beginning to revert back to more of a westerly flow. We've gone just beyond middle of December to the 17th on to the 18th of December. Still relatively cold, actually. We're still bringing the air in from the northwesterly direction. So it's not as cold as it was in the first half of the month where we started, but it is still quite chilly, certainly cold in the north. There'll probably be wintry showers, and I suspect still more or less cold enough for night frost. However, the high pressure is heading further southwards, heading towards Spain and Portugal. That's always a omen to start to bring milder air in from off the Atlantic. Let's try and move up towards Christmas, and that is indeed what happens. We've gone to the 20th of December, and all of a sudden we're starting to pull up these much milder winds from the south, from the southwest. So now we're bringing a lot of cloud up from the southwest, but also significantly milder temperatures as well as we're beginning to head up towards Christmas. Let's get to Christmas. This is 21st of December on to the 22nd. And into the 23rd, and now we're starting to get low pressure deepening in the Atlantic, so wet and windy weather is beginning to push in across the British Isles from the Atlantic. It's turning much more unsettled, but it's mild. The winds are coming in from the southwest, so it looked like this 10th update was going to do something different. We started cold in the early part of December, and that carried on to mid-December, but now we're getting to Christmas, and it looks like we're starting to find our way back to the trend that we've had throughout the Christmas updates, really, which has been Atlantic driven and westerly. This is Christmas Eve, and it looks like we've got a storm to deal with here on Christmas Eve, with a deep area of low pressure bringing wet and windy weather across the country, with some gale force winds coming through with that. Christmas Day, so Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, that looks stormy, but Christmas Day itself, not too bad. That low pressure gets out of the way. We're building up a slight transient ridge ahead of the next low pressure to the south of Ireland. So it would be a mostly dry Christmas Day with plenty of sunshine. Temperatures probably average to a little bit milder than average, but certainly nothing particularly cold there showing up on tonight's 10th update for Christmas Day. Boxing Day looks wet up in the north with this area of low pressure, probably mainly dry for England and Wales, and we're starting to push up some milder winds from the south and the southwest again. That carries on into the post-Christmas period, so we're between Christmas and New Year now on the 28th of December. We're bringing up the air from a southerly southwesterly direction. We've got high pressure across Central Europe, low pressures out to our north and to our west as well, but for England and Wales it's mostly dry. The main thing is that it's very mild there, with temperatures going up into double digits. And we move up towards New Year, and what we find by the time we get through to New Year's Eve is that we're turning unsettled again. This is the chart for New Year's Eve. It's looking wet and windy, but also mild on New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, this is the first day of 2018. It looks quite stormy. The purple colours are turning up again to the north and west of Scotland. When they appear, it's usually a sign we're in for a bit of a battering, and that's what the model is showing tonight for the 1st of January 2018. We've got gale force winds and wet and windy weather sweeping in from off the Atlantic Ocean, and this continues through the first week of January. It's looking very unsettled, potentially quite stormy. I'll run you on a little bit further. Potentially quite stormy, wet, windy, but all the time the air is driving in from off the Atlantic, so it remains relatively mild right the way through to the 12th of January. That's as far as I'm going to go. It's looking Atlantic driven, mild, wet and windy. So what's happened there is that we're starting cold through the first half of December, and then the CFS has reverted us back to its westerly trend. Now, this model is a little bit westerly biased, so it will always try and get us back to the default. And the default setup for us is westerly, because we've got the Gulf Stream, we've got the jet stream, moving from west to east and the Atlantic Ocean. So our default setup, it's the reason we have mild winters typically in the UK, although you wouldn't believe that if you read the newspaper headlines, which are always screaming about cold weather and snow. And that comes from certain weather forecasters. But the default setup is actually not cold and snow. The default setup in winter is mild and westerly. And the CFS V2 will always try and get us back to the default setup. So I think what we have to do is say that this update has done something different compared to all of the updates so far, because it has that very cold weather through the early part of December. It just flips it in the second half of December and gets us to those westerly and zonal winds. Now, would that actually happen in reality? That's the question. And what we're going to have to do is see in the next updates. I say we've got more updates to do. We'll see in the next updates whether we start to run along with this cold early December, and whether it gets extended any further out into December. But for tonight's 10th update, essentially, despite that we started off with that cold weather early December, actually we've stuck with the trend. The trend this year so far has been westerly, mild, wet and windy around the Christmas period. Right, the 11th update will be on Friday, and because we've got the live event coming up on Friday night at 7 o'clock, I'll be doing a live chat on the homepage. So because we've got that coming up, it means the Christmas update on Friday will be a little bit earlier. It'll be 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and also I'll have Jam Friday as well on Friday. But the Christmas update will be a couple of hours earlier than normal, because we have the live chat at 7. So come back for the next instalment on Friday. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.